Hi. Hey, everybody. Oh, what an interesting day. What an interesting day. Now, let me know how this is looking, if everything's okay. Hey, Shelley. Good day to you, too. How are you doing today on this interesting, very autumnal, gray, damp day in Oshawa? I hope if folks are in other places that your day is okay. Doesn't need to be better than okay. Sometimes okay is enough. Okay is great sometimes. So let me know. Oh, hello, Courtney. Lovely. Hi, Courtney. Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, we can get to those questions in a little bit about Art Day. But first, welcome to everyone joining our little live stream pop-up art studio today. Hope you have a cup of tea or cup of coffee handy. I know I've got my coffee. Oh, hey, Sandra. Oh, it's so good to see you, Sandra. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining us. First coffee, though. First coffee. Okay, now I can talk more. Yeah, welcome. For those of you who have not participated in our little live stream virtual art studio times, welcome. Um, if this is new to you and it feels a little weird, that's probably because it is a little weird. One, because the world is a little weird right now, and that's okay. We're all doing what we can to cope. And plus, we do things a little differently here at the living room for our Facebook live streams. We have this. I make, I talk, I chat with you, read your comments, answer your questions. I love to know how people are doing. I love to know what people are working on. All the same safe space rules apply that would normally apply in the studio as well. So we ask people to be really supportive of one another and encouraging and kind. If you're having trouble with that today, please let us know. If your inner critic is being really loud and kind of nasty to you, that happens sometimes. So let us know and we can talk back to it. We often talk about the inner critic here and, give it a little nudge in the right direction. Sometimes it has constructive stuff to say, but generally speaking, it kind of gets in the way of us doing what we want to do. So let's take some time today to play, to relax, to kind of absorb what we need to absorb, reflect upon what we need to reflect upon, and just hang out and be with one another in a creative kind of way. I know I'm feeling a little low energy today too. I'm not sure if anyone else out there is, but I am. Hello, Wendy. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The other part of our safe space that still applies in a virtual space, we ask folks to not only to be supportive of one another, but to respect one another's space here. So just being supportive, kind, encouraging, respectful, negotiating, consent, all those kind of things. If folks enter this space, if you've been drinking or using, we'll ask you to come back on another day. And I know that seems kind of strange since I can't see you or hear you or smell you or any of the things, but it's really about communication at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, or all times during the day. Hey, Momo. Oh, thank you so much. Momo just giving me a boost of energy all the way from Montreal there. Oh, how lovely. Oh, fantastic. So collage is in the air. Excellent. Um, Gosh, I love the conversation. Okay, let me finish. Let me finish the welcoming spiel first, and then I'll get to answering everyone's questions and checking in. For folks, that whole piece around using and drinking for us is really just about communication. And we know that a lot of folks love using this time to take a break from the voice of addiction, or to use this for their own recovery journey or harm reduction journey. And I think all of us respect that. I don't know if there's anyone out there whose life hasn't been touched in some way by those things in the world. So we just try to be kind to one another. It's just a way of letting folks know to be gentle with yourself. And the last thing, of course, if anything weird or uncomfortable happens here to you, if you feel weird, uncomfortable, if I say or do anything that kind of nudges you in the wrong direction or causes you to have difficult thoughts or feelings, can you let me know? You don't have to do it in the chat if you don't want to, but you can send me a message or an email afterwards. If something happens in the chat, in the Facebook, you know what, let's be kind but keep one another accountable too. This is a great opportunity to learn and grow with one another. And well, in the end, so we can all learn how to be better humans. I think everyone out there, that's what we really want at the end of the day. We want to be supportive. We want to be encouraging. We want to be that person that can be there for someone else in their moment of need. And sometimes we just need to learn a little bit about how to do that. Me included. So keep me accountable as well. But that's about it for the beginning. Now let's check in with everybody. So I'm going to work backwards a little bit here. So Momo, I'm sending you some chill Oshawa rainy day vibes to just because a little swap, an energy swap there. And Momo's going to be working while listening to the conversation and art making. Always nice to have company. And yeah, P.S. Momo started their day with some collage. And let's see, Shelley. Oh, when is the inner critic quiet? Shelley asks first thing. So that makes me wonder if the inner critic's been kind of active lately. I know that as the weather turns a little colder, as it becomes a little less comfortable to spend time outside with one another for longer periods of time. I wonder if, well, at least I can only speak for myself. I'm beginning to feel that concern about winter coming, and perhaps the fear of what might happen if we begin to isolate a little bit more to keep ourselves healthy, to keep our loved ones healthy. How, we wonder how things might change in this winter to come. And you know what? I don't know if we have any answers about that. But what I do know is that there will always be this space. We can tell the inner critic that. I know that we can always find ways to connect and just to get outside for a little bit. If you're feeling that today, if you're feeling a little restricted or edgy or anxious, nature is always a good carer. Go out and hug a tree. Don't worry what people think of you. Just find a tree, hug it. Tiny tree, big tree, any tree. I do that. It works. Just lean your head against that tree, take a deep breath, and let the tree hold you for a little bit. Seriously, it's fun. And let's see. And Courtney asking about a day to pick up art kits. So we don't have as many art kits at the studio right now, Courtney. But I will be at the studio packing up. I was there this morning. I'll be there again tomorrow, Thursday and Friday from 10 till 5 roughly until I kind of emerge covered in bits of glitter and fluff and dust and things like that, blinking into the evening twilight. But if you want to drop by and say hi and see what we have left, you're more than welcome to. Again, it's not a whole lot. So if there are specific things you're looking for, Courtney, send me a message. An email is great. I know that I've heard from Shelley. I think I've heard from Jenny out there as well about some things that are looking for. So I'm being mindful of that. And whenever we can find an opportunity to drop things off, probably November, once everything's packed up at the studio, we will do that. We'll drop some stuff off to folks if you can't make it out to the studio. We can't do that all the time, but here and there, every once in a while, we're happy to do that. All right. Oh, so how is everybody doing? What are people making today? It's such an interesting time. I know that folks must be thinking about crocheting and knitting. Oh, and Shelley, sad that you missed the art pickup day. That's okay. Not everyone could make it out, and it's not safe for everyone to be out around people. I understand that as well. One thing that I've learned being at the studio, and one thing I've been reminded of being at the studio and packing up all the materials, is that there is never a shortage of beautiful, lovely, quirky, interesting supplies for people. And oftentimes these supplies come, well, most often, I think around 90% of the materials that the living room has, and I don't know about other art hives out there, but around 90 or 95% of the materials we have been donated from the community. So here's another thing. If you have a good group of friends on Facebook, if you have some connections out there, you can always put out a call for supplies for yourself. Put a little note on your Facebook post that says, hey, I'm making stuff. These are the materials I'm looking for. And before you know it, people will provide you with those materials. It's kind of magical how much we have, the abundance that is out there. And just because there's a pandemic, it's not going away. Hello, Nye! Oh my goodness, Nye. So good to see you here. Nye is actually fostering our ukulele for us while the studio is closed. So I'm going to imagine, you don't have to play ukulele during this, Nye, but I'm going to just imagine in the background that, some lovely little ukulele music playing. Just, something nice and, I don't know, not even nice, whatever you want to play. Just those lovely sounds of ukulele floating around. And if folks want to imagine that along with me, go for it. Permission to be a little more weird today than maybe you would be normally. How about that? Permission to be creative and weird and kind to yourself and let yourself be whatever you need to be in this moment. So, yeah, a little low energy, that's okay. Higher energy, that's all right too. Who knows? I might be bouncing around. And Shelley saying, looking for rug hooking canvas. You want to make a new rug. Interesting. So let me have some more coffee so I can wake up a little bit. Ah, coffee. So sometimes when I hear about rug hooking, I know there are two kind of different. Oh my goodness! I don't know if anyone else heard that. Someone has a really loud car. Um, there are kind of two. When people talk about rug hooking, sometimes they're talking about two different styles of rug hooking. Hey, Amber! Oh my goodness! So great to see you. How the heck are you doing? Wow, what a wonderful just lovely being reminded of community. And oh, by the way, for folks who are out there today, I ran into Kevin, painter Kevin, who likes painting the big, big canvases outside the studio and inside the studio too. He says hello to everyone. He's doing pretty good. And I also ran into John, who loves doing those pencil sketches. Hello, John and Kevin. If you happen to be out there listening, hello right back at you. But they send their love to the community. And Amber's still out there hanging in there. Hey, that's all any of us can really do, right? I think there's something lovely about that sometimes. When I'm feeling particularly dark or itchy or scratchy or whatever the thing might be, salty, it's nice sometimes to remind myself that this feeling of hanging in there. Hey, Emmett, nice to see you. Welcome. That feeling of feeling a little unbalanced, like we're not quite sure what's going on around us. Like everybody's feeling that to some extent, right? It's so good to know that I'm not alone. And in those times where I'm being really hard on myself because I'm expecting myself to somehow be cool with everything, I just have to remember that it's okay. That's okay. It's okay to feel that way. And I'm not alone. At the end of the day, that's it. I know folks are out there and we're all hanging in whatever way we can. And some days it's easier to hang in, and some days we have folks helping us hang in, and some days someone puts a stool under us so we can sort of stand on our tiptoes, and other days we have, I don't know, maybe we're in a little ski lift chair. I'm not sure where this is going. You get the idea, right? We're all in it together, and there's lots of different ways that hanging in there looks, right? Find the one that feels best for you in whatever moment you're feeling, and let yourself be okay to be there, right? It will change, it will shift. It always does. Oh, Jay. Hi, Jay. That's a big heart that Jay just shared there. Fantastic. I love that. Okay, coffee. Yes, art kits, studio stuff, packing up the studio. I will be there again Thursdays and Fridays. Well, I'll be there all next week most likely, but from 10 to 5 p.m. So if you're out and about, if you feel safe or comfortable, you're welcome to come by. We don't have a whole lot of a wide range of art supplies on site right now. We have a little bit, but you're welcome to see what we have and send us an email with a request. And perhaps once things are packed up and we've settled down a little bit, we can share some of those materials with one another. But Shelley, I think, back to you, Shelley. Look at that. I just went off there on a lovely tangent. Looking for rug hooking canvas. So when you're talking about rug hooking, are you talking about the kind of East Coast style rug hooking that uses burlap as a base and tiny cut up strips of wool or whatever to kind of loop through? Or do you mean the kind of more open-ended weave canvas that you pull yarn through to create really cool kind of furry, fuzzy rug hooking art and stuff like that? Let us know which one you're looking for, and we'll just continue sharing and asking in this thread. And who knows, someone might have those supplies already and be able to drop them off somewhere near you. That's how community works. It's really wild sometimes. If we just put it out there, what we're looking for, a lot of the times it can come to us, or it'll appear somehow in our life. That's a beautiful thing, right? I think so anyways. Yeah. Yeah. Well, why don't I get making? You've seen my face for long enough. Here. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so, oh yeah, one of the things that I was so happy to stumble upon as I was tidying up the studio, more repurposed books, surrendered books, old books. And let's see. It had been a while. I think I only had a few here that I was using. And sometimes I feel really guilty cutting up old books. I know I shouldn't because they're books that will probably just go into recycling anyways. But I like, I feel like I need to have permission from the book somehow. So I found a whole bunch of these that had already been well used, nicely used. So I wanted to get back into some of my cut up poetry as well. That might be something, maybe that's something I can do towards the end. So I'm going to fold this up, my little handmade book. I love this book so much. It was one of the first things that I made with folks when we went live in a virtual kind of way. I'm going to make another one, I think. Yeah. I feel like I would like to make a little book about moments. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but just thinking as we're packing up the studio and being reminded of all the wonderful experiences and all the not so wonderful experiences we've had there, and the things perhaps in everyday life that we're letting go of or making space for. I think I need a space to put things like that. Just thoughts, random thoughts, words. Something small though, not something big, not necessarily a sketchbook, but something special that is just for those things. I don't know. We'll see. And Emmett saying, I got my mail order of yarn. Woohoo! So now I can crochet a shawl for my friend. I've been so excited for this package. Oh, isn't that a lovely thing when you have been waiting? There's something lovely about snail mail. And I know things can happen so quickly today. Sometimes we take it for granted that we can have things as soon as we want them, but for some of those special things like yarn or certain art supplies, I know I'm waiting for a package of highlighters to come my way, which seems strange, but I'm so excited. It's so excited. I love the anticipation. I love waiting for things to arrive, and then just the unboxing of them, and there's just so much joy in that experience alone. I'm so happy that your yarn came through. And so yes, okay, Shelley has clarified about the rug hooking. You pull yarn through to make the rug. So if anyone out there has those kinds of rug hooking supplies, so the really open weave rug hooking fabric or base, that's almost like a net in some ways, and then rug hooking hooks and those like the short pieces of yarn, I'd be interested, Shelley, do you make up your own designs? That's really cool if you do. Super, super cool. But Shelley, if you need more specific things, don't be afraid to ask. You never know, someone in this thread or listening at home might have that stuff, and they might be able to hook you up. Right? Yeah? See what I did there? That was, yeah, I know. Sorry, folks. And Momo, yes, Momo, love old books, making blackout poems with them, right? I've been doing cutout poetry, but after, it was actually in the Hive, maybe it was your Hive, that you did some blackout poetry. I was thinking, it's been a long time since I've done that style of poetry, so maybe even today, I'll cut myself a little page and work with what I have there to wrap things up, instead of cutting things up, which can sometimes get a little fiddly. Thank you. And hello, Teresa. And I love that Emmett is like giving me the snare drum at the end of that lovely, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not really good at puns usually. I tend to do them by accident. I don't really know that I've done them. And then other people will assume I've been super clever, and I haven't been. They just kind of happen. But I am excited if anyone has those rug hooking supplies out there for Shelley. Right? Let her know. So what do I want to do today? I think a day of kind of looking through, maybe that. To harvest some images. Oh, haha, hello. Harvest some images, hold on to them, let them stew, let them sit. We shall see. Hope folks don't mind the sound of me flipping through magazine pages. I don't know. I might also take I might even do some mixed media stuff with adding paint into a picture. That's a really cool photo. I don't know if I'll use that today, but maybe I'll put that in my file for another day. Does anyone else out there have a collage, like a kind of photo file, an image file that they hold on to? Oh, hi, Peacock page. Peacock today? No, not today. Yeah, the sounds, the many sounds of art making. Exactly, Momo. I was in the early days of the studio, well, not only the early days, but particularly when we used to do pop-up events at the table before we had the studio space. When there was leftover paint at the end of the sessions we had, we hated throwing the paint away. And Samantha Willette was great at this. Just said, bring me the paint. And as we were sort of chatting, finishing out the day, Sam would finger paint and just use up all the odds and ends of little bits of paint that were there and create the most lovely kind of things. And I'm feeling a bit of that today. Ah. I love using photography books for or magazines for collage. Old stock photo catalogs work really well too. Oh, interesting. So Emmett used to make collages in high school to use as art references. What do you mean? Was it like for specific projects to sort of demonstrate moods or colors or, or like that kind of thing, or something different? Tell me about that, Emmett. I'm always curious to learn how people use collage in their own lives. And I wonder, it's an underappreciated art form in a lot of ways, at least in the fine arts world, I think. All right. Oh, my pile of art supplies, and I need to do a tidy in this room. That's what I need to do. What's the word, Emmett? Is it like a mood board or something of that nature, where you want to prove a concept to someone, so you would put together different images to demonstrate? So let's see. Emmett says, I just go through magazines and find things that represented my current mood at the time, cut it out and paste it into a sketchbook. Then I'd use parts of the collage as drawing references. Oh, okay, I get it. Well, that's lovely. That's lovely. Oh, and that's bright. That's vibrant. Maybe. Yeah, I love. Oh, I've really gotten out of the habit, the sketchbook habit, or the just having a collection of book, a place you can go to put out your ideas, to store them, to kind of act as a reference for later on, the things that may not work out right now. But later on, if you visit them, you never know what you'll pull out, what will jump out at you, what you'll be able to use. Yeah. Oh. The only thing about working on collage, I tend to get really distracted by things. So if I disappear into the magazines for a little bit, bear with me. Oh, there's some great stuff in here. I think there's also... Oh, okay. All right, Momo, have a wonderful meeting. See you a bit later. I think in the conversation about collage and fine arts as well, there's something really... There's an interesting element there about who owns the images and what happens when you use one artist's image in your own work. I think if it's personal work, it's fine. But I understand why a lot of artists will use older images, advertising images, things that are dated, unclaimed. It's funny what jumps out at you. All right, cameras. We get it. You're a photography magazine. Oh. So we know that Shelley's working on some rug hooking. Emmett's working on some scarves. Or was it a scarf? I can't remember. I have to look back and see. Boop, 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 boop. Ah, a shawl. Crocheting a shawl. Lovely. What are other folks working on? What's inspiring you these days? What do you feel? Maybe you're not working on it yet, but maybe you feel called to create something soon. I don't know. This time of year is when I begin thinking about gifts. And of course, like everyone else with best of intentions, I always at this time of year say, I'm going to make all my holiday gifts for everyone in my life. And of course, that's a pretty big challenge. But who knows? This year it could be different. Some of us have a little bit more time. We might have a little more focus. Perhaps this is a year where we begin to reclaim some of that time for ourselves, some of that creative time. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? I mean, I already have with your help through doing this, which is such an important thing. I'm always so, so grateful that folks join me. I like that frame. Maybe I'll do a framed piece today. It's one of the reasons why I love using art magazines in collage pieces. Not necessarily for the artworks that are in there, although they can act as really lovely bases. I love using the frames in the collage pieces that I do. I love that. I love a good frame. Some structure to hold things in, some containment. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling excited about creating things for folks this year. Although, I don't know what yet. It's in that beginning stage. I have not made any decisions. I don't know how to crochet or knit, Emmett. So I don't know if I could do that for anyone. Although I'm sure I could, based on my history of knitting, that I could probably crochet lots of long triangles for people. Not intentional triangles, more like visual representations of the stress I have that I naturally carry with me. Who wouldn't want that as a beautiful gift, right? Who wouldn't want that? And Teresa's, oh, wonderful. I'm painting a fish, but I'm having problems with the water. It doesn't look like water. Oh, no. Oh, well, okay. Wow, you're not asking for help, but have you tried holding it up in front of a mirror? I know sometimes if I'm doing visual, like painting works like that, sometimes it helps to hold it up in front of a mirror and trick my brain into looking at it in a slightly different way. Well, if you'd like, you can share it here too. I'd love to see that. Teresa, you've been creating some extraordinary images of animals in this last year. I love that. They're so beautiful. And in a kind of realism phase as well. It's a lovely thing to consider why we paint what we paint, isn't it? Because so much work goes into a painting. When we stumble upon a certain subject matter or subject area that we're passionate about in the work that we're doing, I'm always fascinated by why that happens. Yeah? Oh, good idea, says Teresa. Excellent. Well, let me know if it helps. Yay. And Emmett says, I'm also crocheting a tapestry for my wall. What? As a side project and a pair of mittens. Makes sense. And that Celtic cable scarf I was working on last week. It keeps things interesting by having more than one project. Oh my goodness. I think you're not alone there. I think raise a hand if you have more than one project on the go. Or I don't know if you can see my hand. Always. I think that's interesting. You sound very organized about it though, which is nice. I tend to have a million projects going on that span years of time. Oh, Laura, hello, hello, hello. Yes, you have stumbled into a merry collage day, Laura. It just seemed to be that kind of day. Sometimes when I'm too scattered. Like the beginning of today, there were so many different kinds of things I wanted to make with you folks. And I was thinking about the last live stream I did, and I was like, oh, I should make that marionette for Lottie. And then I was thinking, well, I know I should get back to paint because I haven't painted in a while. And then I was thinking, I don't think I've ever really painted anything specifically, non-abstract. And so you could see how my mind was just floating everywhere. Hey, Wendy's saying hello. And, oh, Teresa asking, how can I post my painting here? So I'm not sure, depending on where you're at, if you can take a picture of your painting with your smartphone and then upload it to your computer, or use Facebook on your phone to add an image into the chat. I know sometimes in the comment section there'll be the little icons below where you can post, like emoji, photograph, those kind of things. Let me know if that's there. If anyone has a clearer way of explaining that to Teresa, please, please, please feel free to jump in. But yes, the collage day came because I was just thinking about, wanted to do everything. And sometimes when I want to do everything, I come back to just collage, focus, harvest those images. Let yourself kind of be wooed into the creation of something. And Laura, I know you're the same with that. I think you have an eye for collage. And your techniques, oh my goodness, your collage techniques are extraordinary. I think that is still one of my favorite names of workshop names that we've ever had at the Living Room. What was it? Everything you've ever wanted to know about collage but were afraid to ask. Was that the name of the workshop you did? That was an awesome, awesome day. And I'm also going to try in this collage to not do something big. I'm going to try and do something manageable and not try to fill up a huge page, but just a small space. With color, with different things. I rarely put words in my collages. I don't know if how anyone else feels about that. But I know for some folks, if they're working on a vision board or something like that, words and phrases can be helpful for them. But for me, I like working just with the images, letting the magic of the images kind of tell a story about where I'm at, or perhaps give me some information about what I need. Collage, I don't know, I find collage a very spiritual process. As spiritual as I get, anyways. And it's an intuitive process. Hello, boat. Do I want a boat today? No. And if folks are joining us in the live stream now, let me welcome you. Thanks for being here. For folks who are watching, you might see people chatting. You do not need to chat. If you just want to listen and have us on in the background, that's totally okay. If you want to be making art along with us, you're more than welcome to do that. But if you'd also like to do other things like fold your laundry, do some homework, or get on top of some, I don't know, bill payments, whatever helps you feel good today, do that. Do that. That's the most important thing. All the live streams really are about creating space for people to connect and be creative, but also, to do what you need to do to inspire that part of your brain again. Sometimes we need to take a step back from creating to get back into a creative space, if that makes any sense. Oh, whoa, is that a live thing? What is that? Oh, it's a tardigrade. Okay, I should know that. That looks manufactured in so many ways. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted again. Yeah, taking breaks for creativity, taking breaks to refuel, to fill up again, to make space in our brain for new things. Such an important thing. And we don't often have that, do we? Well, maybe now we have more of it than we had before. I had the honor of participating in a class yesterday for Trent University Durham, and together we were talking with the students just about what the living room, the journey of the living room, how it was created, where it came from, where it's at right now, the impact of COVID on the living room as a part of, as so much as how it represents the impact COVID's had or is having on the cultural economy of Oshawa. And oh, I love saving gems when I find them. Put that aside, maybe not for today, but I do love that. And that was one of the big pieces that came up in the conversation. Fascinating that it happened within the context of a class about cultural economy, but just that idea of cultural economy is nothing without our personal, with the self-care of our own personal economy, if that makes sense, the management of our own personal human resources. We have nothing to offer creatively if we ourselves are empty or bankrupt or burnt out. And I think, at least speaking for myself, pre this time, I was definitely burnt out. I think I had no space. I had no energy to give myself for creating, right? Oh, let's see, Laura. So Laura's replying to Teresa as well. On my Android, I have to post photos after the live is over. Okay, so that might be the way to do it. iPhone or PC or laptops might be different. Yes, and hello again, Courtney. And Jay as well, coming in with a lovely support, tech support. Look at this tech support team. How awesome. On my iPhone, I also have to wait until after. Okay, interesting. No idea about if you're using a laptop. So you know what, folks? That might just be the case. I will post something like a show and tell piece after the live stream is done, as well as a whole separate post on the Facebook page. And if you'd prefer to wait to share what you've been working on there, that's fine too. You're welcome to do that. It's always nice to see what folks are working on, though. It's always inspiring. Kind of like a little peek into what might be happening if we were together at the studio. It all began in chaos. Yeah, I suppose. Perhaps it all continues in a bit of chaos as well. What do we have here? Hello, Moon. Oh yeah, okay. Gotta take and save the pictures of the moons, right? And Courtney saying, Mary, I need to set up a time to get a few art kits. Please, please, please. Okay, Courtney, so I'm not sure if you heard my comments before, but if you want to set up a time, email me. Email like info@livingroomcommunityartstudio.org. I know that's a long email address, but that's the easiest way to get a hold of me right now these days. And as I was mentioning before, if setting up a time is just a little too time consuming, because I am a little bit all over the place these days with packing up the studio, you can also drop by. I'll be there tomorrow, Thursday and Friday from 10 till 5 p.m. And you're welcome to drop by and see what we have on hand. Again, we don't have a whole lot. We don't have a whole lot left right now. So if there's nothing there, then send me in that email a request of the kind of things you're looking for, and maybe in November I can drop off some items for you as well. How does that sound? Let me know if that message came through, Courtney, but definitely send me an email, okay? Oh no, oh, don't like that page. Okay, yeah, I don't, interesting. So there's, interesting, so this, I'm getting distracted again. Getting distracted. And for folks who are watching and listening, and sometimes when folks are typing in things, for whatever reason, there have been times where I've missed some comments that have come through. So if I don't see you joining the live stream and typing something in, I apologize. If someone else out there sees a comment that I haven't responded to, please let me know. Sometimes I guess I might get busy chatting and miss something as it goes through the thread. Other times, for whatever reason, it might just be an interesting glitch, technical glitch. So if you're in the chat and you see that comment and you seem to see me not seeing that comment, can you let me know? Just flag it like we would in the studio. If someone was trying to get my attention, just, let me know. It's happened. You know what I'm talking about. Folks who are familiar with the studio, you know what I'm talking about. It's easy for me to get distracted. And sometimes there's, all the time there's something going on. That's an image. That's an image. All right. Again, sometimes one of the things I love about collage, I don't always know why I'm drawn to the images that I'm drawn to. And I try not to force myself to understand as I'm going along. I just kind of let myself collect them. Figure it out later. Sometimes when I'm incorporating them into the collage, I may not know why they're there either. I just go with my instincts here. And try not to judge myself in this process too much. And just on note on, oh good, I'm glad you got the message. I'm glad you got the message, Courtney. Sorry, that sounded really weird. But I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday. Wear a mask, you know, all the safe stuff. And we'll see you at the studio. If other folks are watching and listening and you've joined to watch, if I can only see people who chat. So if you're wondering why hasn't Mary said hello to me yet, that's probably why. And you're allowed to be wherever you're at, just quietly doing your thing. You don't have to participate in the chat. You don't have to talk to me, or anyone else for that matter. You do you. But sometimes folks wonder if I don't say hello, so I just wanted to get that out there. Deja vu. That's an interesting thing. Some images are so powerful. They must just stack up in our brains, huh? All right. So I've got some images to use there. Let's see what I can do with them. I think I'd like to use this paper. So I'll put these interesting looking twin people aside for now. Not quite sure how that'll be used. Do I want the moon right now? Maybe not. Maybe not. I think looking for a background. I'm going to start with this one. So Teresa, I can't wait to see your paintings that you've been working on. And again, in the show and tell piece, if folks want to share what they've been working on, or perhaps even ideas of things they want to work on. As I was mentioning, this is a good time of year to begin daydreaming about what we might create as gifts for one another, for ourselves. Why not? It's been a long time since I've made like a gift for myself. I know there are folks out there, a lot of times they are in the fiber arts community. That's something I really love about that community, where you're creating things like sweaters for one another, or shawls, shawls or scarves or mittens. There's something so beautiful. What a wonderful gesture when you, and I don't know if I've not had the experience of making something like that for someone, but I imagine there's a quality to it of this way. I imagine there's a quality of extraordinary, it's just someone, it's your life, isn't it, that you're putting into that beautiful work of art. So when someone receives a gift like that shawl, they're not just receiving the yarn, they're not just receiving this practical, lovely object that'll help keep them warm or make them look cool. They're receiving part of your life, aren't they? Just all that beautiful time that's been invested in the creation of that. I think everything handmade speaks to that, which is, you know, I'm very sad we won't be able to do the Handmade with Heart sale this year. I know a few makers have reached out to me about that. But, and let's see, Teresa saying, I've been painting pet portraits for some of my friends. Yes. Oh, and they paid you. Excellent commission work for artists. Yes, please. Yes, please. Support local artists. Support the artists you love. And that's, yeah, like just that. There's a beautiful reciprocity that happens within the creative community. With gifts, with the beautiful things we make for one another. And I will miss Handmade with Heart so much. Not only because that's where I got most of my holiday shopping done, but yeah, I'll be missing it. I'll be missing the connection with other creators out there. Oh. And for folks who might be curious, I don't know, there might be people listening or watching who don't know what the heck is Handmade with Heart. That was well, part fundraiser, part extraordinary showcase of creative local DIY artistry in Durham region. So every year, it started the very first year we were open at the studio, such a small space, but we had, I think, 10 vendors that we invited to join us there. And I think at that time we charged maybe $10 or $15 per table, because all we had were the little tiny tables we were using at the studio at that time. And we just invited people to sell their wares, their handmade wares. So we had everything. We had that's where we had beautiful folks like Nancy from Homestead Glass. We had folks who were making hand stamped jewelry and like dog tags and animal tags and things like that. We had needle felting there. I think Rosemary Oliver was there with beautiful needle felted pieces. I think Nicole and Olivia Hen might have been there, because I know their dad Joe was, because we held our very first Handmade with Heart at the studio on a rainy day in late November. Sunday morning, I think we did it. Not necessarily a good location for this kind of event, or it was just a miserable day. And Joe wrapped himself in tinsel, like the kind of, fuzzy tinsel that you put on a Christmas tree, and had these kind of big clappers, like noisemaker hands, and ran out into the center of Simcoe Street to attract attention to our sale. Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, that wasn't the safest thing to allow him to do. But what a lovely gesture. Safety first, everyone. Not a good idea. But how lovely. We have such a dedicated, passionate group of folks in our community. And Joe is definitely one of them. And I can't remember, Laura, you might have been there too. Were you at our very, very first Handmade with Heart? Because I think after that we started looking for other locations. Maybe. Oh, lovely. Laura's remembering that Laura has a hedgehog and acorns, needle felted hedgehog and acorns from Rosemary. And it was a great day. Oh my gosh. That's, dream big, start small. When anyone, once we are in a place where we can do events like that, folks, you don't need a big venue. You don't need a lot of fancy vendors. All you need is like a lovely handful of people who are very passionate about what they do. And that was a great day. It was a great day. And of course, after that, we went on to, bigger and better locations. The library, I think, we worked on. And then we took over their auditorium, and then Trent University Durham stepped in, and it was so lovely. They donated the use of their atrium to us for free, and that allowed us to, charge a little bit more for tables for the vendors, have more vendors there to begin with, so it really became a fabulous event. Wendy was there. Wendy, I'm not sure when we met you, Wendy. Maybe it was the library the first time that Wendy sold, when you sold your fabulous upcycled handmade jewelry for us. But after that, it was just this wonderful event where I would look forward to seeing, like, not everyone could return every year. Perhaps not everyone wanted to, but I loved it. I looked forward to it. And I saved up for it. I had to. Yeah. When we tried to have really unique or interesting things that you couldn't find, that you wouldn't be able to find easily online or at the mall or anything like that. And that was at a time, I think there weren't a whole lot of people doing events like that either. And that was the thing, to sell pieces to be a part of Handmade with Heart, what you made had to be handmade in some capacity or hand designed. Because I realize not every artist can sell original artwork. That would be sometimes cost prohibitive. So you can print off cards or things like that. First in the atrium, really? Wow. Oh, wow. I'd be interested to know what artists are doing this year to promote their work or to sell their work. Perhaps you're taking a break this year. I've been trying to think of some way to have a virtual Handmade with Heart, but I just don't I haven't been able to figure anything out that would be worth everyone's time and effort. But who knows, there might be an opportunity for something really fun. There's a few platforms that we've been exploring that kind of create a sense of event. There's one, I can't remember the name of it exactly. It has something to do with Q. I think it's a British designed app anyways. But what it does is you have the ability to let people into your event in groups or bursts of people. So it kind of creates this first come, first serve energy. And just a sense of anticipation and fun that even though everything is first come, first serve, if you think about it when it comes to purchasing online, it just adds a little bit more fun to it. But yeah, figuring out a way to make it work for all the artists involved. I don't know, folks. But perhaps that's something we can do in November. If for everyone who has Etsy pages out there, that's something we can do. You know what? We're going to do it. You're seeing a light bulb moment in my mind right now. And just checking with Wendy. Wendy had one booked for November, but I will not be doing it now. Not doing it now because of COVID updates, because of COVID-ness, or is it just getting too complicated to do? I know there are a few events happening out there, and I wish everyone the best in doing them. But it's tricky, isn't it? It's really tricky to know, what's the right decision. Yeah. But I think in November, so this is what we will do, folks. I would like to feature different artists and your Etsy pages, or if you have any sites where you sell things. I know not everyone has Etsy. Let's create our own little hype world. And perhaps we can focus on and feature different artists every day. Well, and if not every day, at least, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I'd like to focus and feature and highlight the makers that don't have the same platforms to sell their wares. It's just that kind of year. So I imagine any attention that we can shine is a positive thing. But if anyone else has any better ideas, please let me know, because that's one thing, but it's still fairly passive. Yeah. What am I going to do with this? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Big old collard green. Maybe this isn't wise. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. I'm just going to do that so I can get a sense of the edge here. And Lottie, hello, hello, hello. Oh, Lottie likes that idea. And that's an interesting thing too, because we used to just focus on Durham. Perhaps this year we can focus on our global living room community now. So, okay, look for it. Slow life movement, hashtag slow life movement. It'll let my brain work out what we can do here. But if we can, I'll put out a call perhaps for people to share their Etsy pages or any kind of shop pages that you might have. And maybe we can do a little mini profile on everybody, just to get the word out there and sort of stir up that sense of excitement for handmade and not necessarily local, but, well, local can mean so many different things these days, can't it? Local. I just love supporting anyone who takes time to create. When when Shelley was asking about rug hooking supplies, and this is just a reminder, anyone who has some of those yarn-based rug hooking supplies, Shelley's looking for some. So if you've got some of that and you want to share it, just let her know in this thread, okay? But the reason the East Coast rug hooking was in my mind, I have a friend out there, a family member who recently in the last decade or so began teaching herself the other kind of rug hooking, where you use burlap and the strips of wool, and you can also use lots of different things too, but such a beautiful creative process. And watching Carol and her skill grow, like, as much as I could, being so far away, it's just so lovely and so inspiring. Again, another thing that I've wanted to explore and try over these years, but I haven't had any time. But I've saved some burlap, and I'm saving some fabric. I've got it kind of marked for a good snowy day where I'm just going to jump in and give it a go. So I don't know if Carol's out there and listening, but I will finally get a chance to experiment it with rug hooking this year. But why not shine a light on some work being done on the East Coast or the West Coast or in the States or in the UK? There's opportunities for that, because when we're here together, we're all a part of the same community, aren't we? And Laura saying, that sounds good. I was so looking forward to getting that wall filled in at the living room. Oh. I was pretty much ready when COVID hit. Yeah, just my luck. For those folks who, maybe if you'd been away from the studio for a while, last year we got back to doing something we'd done in the very, very beginning. And then over time, the space gets full and you get overwhelmed. And anyways, blah, blah, blah. We began hosting little micro art sales at the studio. So we had one wall just to the left inside the studio, and once a month we would highlight a different artist in the community, just fill the wall with any of the works that they had to sell, little like tables out front if it wasn't all stuff you could hang on the wall. And we'd have a little opening night at the studio, nothing fancy, like, iced tea and potato chips pretty much. But it was just a really lovely opportunity to gather everyone there and focus on one artist at a time and celebrate their work and get some money in their pocket, right? Because I think anyone out there who is a maker, we know that, it's fantastic when you get those big commissions. It's lovely if you're lucky enough to get big commissions. But for a lot of us, making is something that we do for our own wellness. We do it because we'd be doing it anyways, even if we weren't selling things. And it's just a really great thing when you are lucky enough to make a little bit of extra money from it as well and share that lovely stuff with other people in the community. And artists would tend to walk home, maybe with, a couple $100 or so in their pocket after opening night, and then the work would, hey Amanda, nice to see you, Amanda. Welcome to the studio. We're just talking about the monthly art exhibits we would have there, the micro exhibits we'd have at the studio. And it's just a great opportunity to sell their work, and it would stay up for the rest of the month so we could highlight it and feature it, and people would usually purchase throughout the month as they went along. I remember now, it was a response to our consignment wall, because once upon a time at the living room, our art shop, we had an art shop. It was a consignment art shop, loaded with art. I think there's some pictures, it's just plastered. It just looks like a mosaic of creative works by everyone in the community. And things would sell when they were in the art shop. But more often than not, we found that people kind of got a little overwhelmed with all the different things in their face all the time. And so art would get lost. So focusing on one artist at a time was actually better for the artist rather than keeping their work up year round. And yes, there were so many artists. There were, Laura's exhibit was coming up. We also had an exhibit from Shiloh coming up. We had an exhibit from those two sisters that were working on photography. And we need another art studio, Amanda says. We do, we certainly do. Well, we're going to work on the mobile art studio first, and then we'll see where that goes. But when things settle down again, there might be another studio in our future. Maybe one that has a better floor that isn't as dangerous, with all those weird tiles at different angles and stuff. Definitely drawn to green today. Interesting. Is it though? I don't know. So one day there might be another Living Room Community Art Studio. If folks are feeling sad about that, just know that it's not necessarily the end. Of course it's not the end. I'm still here. We're still doing this. Hopefully in the new year we're going to be doing more programming, more online programming. One of the things I'm looking for funding for is for more sort of tech support for community members, because I think one of the deficits, is that the right word, to what we're experiencing right now. It's great that we have virtual digital platforms to work with one another and connect with one another. However, I also feel that the people who have the materials and the tools and the technology and the the Wi-Fi to do stuff are often, like myself, maybe a little more privileged or already familiar with how to do certain things. As a result, what's beginning to happen is that we've lost the diversity, the representation of the community. Like, if you're only seeing my face ever, well, sorry about that. But I mean, I think it's really important to provide technology for other folks so that they can stream as well and do activities on behalf of the living room as well. So it's not just my face, so that folks feel represented. So again, just a way of representing different communities, different people, different voices, different lived experiences. So Lottie's saying, oh, interesting. So Lottie watched the Q&A the other day. I had to catch up. The live stream happened at midnight my time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you were sleeping. Sleep is a good thing. I thought it was a great idea, especially with the big changes that are coming up. And do you remember a few weeks ago, Lottie says, back when we collaborated on a poem about the space and being in a creative space? I think that's what that was about. Yes, yeah, the creative virtual space. Has that been shared, and is there a way to access it? I'd love to see the full version and share it with my course tutor, who I've told about the living room and the poem. You know what? There is. So after we shared that poem in the virtual Hive show and tell, we actually had more submissions. So I have to revisit the poem and perhaps do another version. Maybe once the studio, I'll do another version perhaps after the studio's all packed up and I have some time to really dedicate to it and maybe do something fancy with it. I don't know. But if you're interested in what we did, if you go back a few weeks on the Living Room's Facebook page, I shared the whole show and tell that the Art Hives community did together. So if you want to watch that, and maybe I'll repost it in the show and tell after today's live stream, you'll not only get, the poem that we shared, but you'll also get a taste of all the other virtual hives that are doing really cool things out there. Because there are so many, although no one that I know of from the UK, Lottie. I mean, just a thought. Want to start an art hive? A virtual hive? Maybe. Okay, no pressure. Essentially, all the participating art hives had 5 minutes to talk about or show and tell what they were working on and what kind of community they were working with virtually. So some hives were a little more academic and talked about things from a more art therapy angle. Other folks, like I'm not sure if Momo is back here watching or listening, they actually put together little mini virtual galleries with like images hanging on little virtual walls, so you could take a tour and look at what their communities had created. I chose to represent the community through that poem we co-created, and I didn't really do anything fancy. I just kind of organized everyone's pieces in different ways. So, you know what? It might be interesting to even offer it back to the community, all those ingredients, and see what you folks create. So if you took all those pieces that people contributed, and the answer was, I think the question I posed to folks was, in this space, ... So in this space, I am. In this space, we are. Lots of different ways to answer that. And we just created that written piece. But yeah, there's lots of cool things we could do with that, isn't there, Lottie? And so your course tutor. So yeah, how has school been going for you? I know things are really interesting where you are these days. I'm hoping you weren't in, or maybe I do hope you were in one of the schools that was kind of, I know that some students couldn't leave their, and Laura, a picture of a fox on a school bus. Does that mean you're going to pick up Emily? It might. Is that, say hello to the fox on the school bus for me. Or studio. That could be the mobile art studio too. But Lottie, yeah, I know some students weren't allowed to leave their dorms. That's got to be strange, right? I'm thinking about everyone out there, no matter where you are. I know that with this strange virus, we're seeing things spike in a lot of different places. And I'm not the boss of you, but I definitely invite everyone to keep taking care of yourselves. You're so important. You're so precious. I don't mean precious in a like a precious. I mean you're one of a frickin' kind. There's no one else out there in the universe like you. That's it. That's what I mean. Precious, like a priceless human resource. Sorry, I got a little angry there. I don't know why. Do I need some more coffee? Maybe. Ah. But yeah. Priceless resources. All of you. What was I talking about? Yeah. Oh, the virus. Haha. This interesting virus. Yeah, not the boss of you, but please continue to take care of yourselves, everybody. I'm going to do my best to do that too. It's all we can do. All we can do. I was telling some of my lovely volunteers helping me tidy at the studio that I did get kind of angry at some anti-mask people a couple of weeks ago here in Oshawa. I'm not proud of myself, folks. I might have given them some gestures. I might have used some expressive language with them. But I just have no tolerance for that, for anything that puts human beings at risk. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta curse. But I was definitely cursing in that way that was not safe space way. I meant what I said, and I was directing it at them. So I'm not proud of myself. Oh, what you gonna do? If it happens once every 5 years, that's okay, right? Right? How do those birds want to be? No, they want more, they want to be seen. And yes, I'm talking to my collage. I think I want to do that. Maybe I want to do that. Singing to my art. Now everyone knows why musical theater wasn't my strong point. Although I was in a musical once. Just once. Oh, interesting. Oh. Oh, well, thank you, Shelley. Yeah, you are priceless. If that helps to keep saying it to yourself, please do. And I do love talking to I did a self-care page in a journal recently just about all the things, the kind of tools that I use that I find really helpful. And that is definitely one of them, talking to myself. So especially when I'm feeling the most bleak and you don't necessarily have a therapist on speed dial and the people you're living with may not be interested or have enough time to really give you what you need, or what they give you can't possibly be what you need. I think sometimes we all know what we need, so I'll just talk to myself. I will have a conversation with myself, like drawing upon all the wisdom and the tools that have been shared with me over time that have worked with me. I'll talk myself out of it. But sometimes it's not helpful for it only to be my voice. So I actually kind of, there's two people. I will say my concern and then I will have a response separately. Does that make sense to folks? I'm not being two people, but I'm giving space for the thought and the response. I find it really helpful, and I think it's also really important to say it out loud. At least I find that helpful. It's easier, it's less likely that I'll get distracted and carried away. And Lottie's saying, "Oh, better, even better. I'll take a look at that. I'd like to have a nosy at what other art hives have done in regards to starting an art hive. I'm not sure I'm ready to do that yet." Okay. Yeah, you are still in university. School first, definitely. But I'd love to do a creative writing workshop. Yes! Oh! Oh! I'd like that. I'd like that, Lottie. Uni-wise, I travel, so I'm pretty lucky to be with my mom. Oh, that's nice. But restrictions are at its tightest in my area. And I'm sorry. Lottie had a COVID scare recently, so I'll be staying at home for the rest of the semester. I'm doing everything online, but I feel safer at home than in the city. Do what feels right for you. Absolutely. Especially like if anything that helps you focus, that helps you cope, right? I think it's not a time to, like that stiff upper lip stuff is never much my style anyways. But if there's something that works for you, if there's any little thing that helps you get the most out of your day, get the most out of your learning, your work, your community, your friends, your anything that you're doing, do it, right? If it's helping you move forward and feel strong and confident, where we can reduce those little anxieties or the big anxieties, why not do it? There's so much that we don't really have control over. So why not take advantage of the things we can work on and make okay for ourselves? And Shelley, Shelley says, I'm all alone. Well, not right now. I might be physically alone, but there's lots of folks out there. There's lots of folks out there who think about you. Think about you when you're not around and when they're not around you. I wonder if that helps to remember sometimes too. I know I don't always have opportunities to reach out to folks, for example. I think about people all the time, but I may not have time to call them. I may not have time to text them. I may not have time to have the kind of conversations I want to with them. But I think about people all the time. I think about folks in our community all the time because you guys play a special role in my life. And I don't know if that's helpful to think of that, to think that way, but I feel like there's someone thinking about you once a day, twice a day. Sometimes that helps me as well to know that somebody out there is probably thinking about me. And I can ask people to think about me too. So in those times where perhaps you need a little thought or you want to know that someone's thinking about you, sending out a little post on Facebook saying, hey, folks, spare a thought for me. Just send me some positive vibes, right? Even though physically we may not be in contact with anyone, just being able to reach out and say, can someone just think of something nice and send it my way? That can be helpful too. It's not the only thing, but it's one thing that can help. And you journal a lot. So Shelley journals. Journaling is so helpful for me. Talking out loud to myself, yes, and journaling. I'd love to, if whenever I can, to start the day with a journal. A little bit of yoga, a little bit of journal. Journaling sometimes is easier than yoga-ing. Even if it's just a couple of paragraphs spewed out stream of conscious style. Just to clear my head or focus on, no, Mary, what were you doing there? I'm enjoying how I'm processing this collage today. I've decided on a new approach to arranging it. But yeah, journaling, starting the day with some journaling, or if I have a moment where I'm feeling a little heavier or cluttered in my brain, just taking a moment to sit down. Doesn't have to be pages and pages either, doesn't it, Shelley? Even just a few sentences, or if you're into art journaling, just some scribbles even, just to get it out, some doodling, just to focus. And Angel, hello, Angel. Angel says, nice hanging out, folks. Gotta run, be safe. Right back at you, Angel. You too. Aw, lovely, Angel. So nice that you were there, Angel. See, there's folks who might be listening and I don't even know they're listening or watching. I think about you too. So if you're here and a part of the Art Hive, just listening and hanging out with us, I appreciate you. You don't have to participate in the chat, but I'm thinking of you. I know folks are there, and it means a lot to know that you're out there listening, whatever you might be doing. And and Shelley's saying goodbye to Angel too. Shelley, I think you would have loved Angel if you had a chance to meet him. Angel's one of those, I think creative spirit is a perfect description of Angel. I think there's just a lot of creativity coming there. That's something else I've been finding as I've been tidying up and packing up at the studio, little bits of certain community members, tucked in between books and on shelves and under things and inside the piano. It's quite lovely. I try to save all of them whenever I find them. Who knows, maybe I'll create something with them after. Who knows? It's all a part of this wonderful fabric. An art journal. Oh, so Shelley, art journal is your favorite. What kind of things do you do in your art journal? Do you have a specific kind of go-to kind of art style or art technique, or is it painting, drawing, doodling? I would love to spend, I'd love to really, I'd love to do an art journal that repurposes a book. In fact, I have, I have one right here that is waiting to be turned into an art journal. And I have a whole box of them at the studio. I think that might be one of the workshops we do if we get to share materials in a mobile studio in the new year. And I know Laura would be down with this. And I think Sam Willett also has repurposed books. So yeah, so you just already stashing little bits and pieces there. Just taking old books. And sometimes I can gesso some of the pages over, or just use them as are, like as is, to write on top of or draw on top of, elaborate, embellish. Yeah. It's just about giving ourselves permission to try something. Let's see. Oh, that's good. So Shelley, you're right. You have met Angel in the coffee group. And just a reminder to folks who are interested, this Friday we're having, there is another coffee chat group with Nikki and Michelle. I'm going to try and drop in again too at 9 a.m. on the Facebook page. Well, if you go to the coffee chat group, and I'll update the membership there too to make sure everyone has access. But you're welcome to join us, and it's like a Zoom kind of thing. So you get to see people and you get to hear one another's voices. And it's early in the morning, definitely. So oftentimes we all look a little bit sleepy, but you're welcome to join us if you like, folks. Ah, and Teresa saying, I love the name. My grandson's name is Angel too. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, Angel is an interesting name. I'm glad my name isn't Angel. I mean, Mary is enough to live up to, depending on what context you're coming at it anyways. But it is a beautiful name, and I think represents certain people so perfectly. And Shelley talking about art journaling, drawing letters or words, just whatever you feel. That's, pictures out of books to create. I love that. Oh my goodness. If you want to bring your, well, again, not the boss of you, and I know art journals can be very private things, but again, and this is an invitation to everyone out there as well. If, again, in the new year, we hope to be doing more of all our online virtual engagement, which would include more groups and workshops where we can see one another. But in the meantime, if folks want to join the coffee group, and if you want to bring art so you can hold it up for folks to see, you're welcome to. I know Shelley shared some of her jars before too in that context. It's lovely. And Lottie will be starting a reflective journal very soon as part of your first module in your degree, covering, this word I always have a hard time saying, provocations and thoughts and opinions. I'm looking forward to starting. I can't wait to hear how that project goes for you. The art journal, it's one of my favorite things to do. And I love, like everyone out there must know, I'm hoping folks know that there are lots of different beautiful projects out there, like sketchbook projects and art journal projects where you can sort of sign up and join something. Either you share your sketchbook or you complete your project, your book, and then it goes into a library or an archive. But I do love how in the last few decades there has been a shift to embracing those books as works of art as well, not just as, sort of documents of process, but it becomes an archive that is in its own right a work of art. Does that make sense? I love that. And I feel like for me it also reflects, because oftentimes with journals and written journals, yes, diaries, yes, but I feel there's something about art journals that, and it's not exclusively, it doesn't necessarily speak to gender at all, but I feel like over time, historically speaking, we've missed a lot of women's voices, and non-binary voices most probably, due to the fact that male voices were always given precedent. They were always, the ones that were documented, stored, saved, archived, privileged. And these kind of experiences, scrapbooks or photo albums or things that were often kept by other people, were not as precious. I'm looking forward to, I don't know, the collections of beautiful books that are created by all people, all voices, all creative expressions. It feels like scrapbooking won't just be something that is a pastime or a trend. It feels like the artists are reclaiming what it means to document our lives and document our process. So excited. I don't know. And let's see. Lottie says, I have to hand in the journal, 2 completed pieces of work and 4 to 6 works in progress. Wow, wow, wow. That's a lot of work. A lot of work, but if you're loving it, that's what matters, I suppose, right? That I love that. I didn't go to like a visual art school. I went to theater school. But I missed that. I feel like we could almost have our own art school. just for the heck of it, right? And Shelley saying, I could write how I felt, so I was told to try. Oh, interesting. Try to art journal and fell in love doing them. Yeah. Some people have an easier time communicating what they feel or where they're at through words, sometimes images. Sometimes it moves, it shifts for me. Some days I can't find the words. Some days I just let the words come out in whatever order they want to, a la Artist's Way, Julia Cameron. Are folks familiar with Artist's Way and Julia Cameron? Sometimes I check in because it's one of those things that is pretty well known and pretty prolific and has influenced so many creators out there. But not everyone knows Julia Cameron. She coined the term and kind of created a technique called morning pages, which is where you wake up and the first thing you do is you just write. And she has a specific way that she invites people to do it. Again, stream of conscious, filling 6 long, like sort of long pieces of paper just with words, whatever way they want to come out. And the idea, I think, is that kind of clearing your brain to a certain extent, letting it all out so you can make space for new stuff. But also, in those pages, the idea is not to censor yourself, not to edit yourself or go back or pause or really labor over anything at all. The idea is you just let it out, whatever it is, and trust that whatever is being let out is enough. And through that process, inevitably, what ends up happening is that just find the answers to things. The answers to things you didn't even know, sometimes to questions you didn't know you were asking, sometimes the things that you've been searching and working so hard for in other parts of your life. Sometimes there are the seeds for new projects. Really great way to just dip in and revisit those morning pages from time to time. Now, I'm a very lazy morning page person. I do it when I feel like it. I don't do it every day. I do it when I need to, certainly, in my journal. So I don't do the full-on, foolscap. Is that the word for that long paper? I can't remember now. I just do it in a way that makes me feel good when I need to do it. I'm kind of allergic to instructions and guidelines. And anything copyrighted, yeah, it makes me a little itchy. So I tend to just do what works for me and try not to feel guilty about it. Same with bullet journaling. I only recently turned to bullet journaling because I was asked to do it do a workshop for it for Durham College. And I finally got it. I'm like, oh, this is really cool, this idea. But again, all the rules, all the regulations, all the very specific ways of doing it, not quite my style. For some people, it's perfect. For some people, that accountability and that structure is the best. For me, the way my inner critic works anyways, I tend to, be really judgy on myself if I'm not doing it the way that I'm supposed to. So I just let it be whatever it wants to be. And if I miss a few days or a few weeks, that's okay. But when I need it, It's there for me. And when I want to reference it, I can. I don't know if anyone else has journals out there that they've returned to after years. I have a lot of my journals, when I go back over them, there tends to be big gaps in between, my entries sometimes. When I'm just filling out now, there was a year gap in there. But again, I'm not going to stress about it, because what's that going to do? Just make me miserable. I'm really good at that. I don't need to practice that. I need to practice making myself feel okay. Letting myself just be. Yeah. I got the other one down. But I want to be better at taking care of myself. I want to be better at loving myself. I want to be better. I don't know. I want feeling good to be something that's easier to reach for. It doesn't feel like such an exercise, such a labor. And I don't think I'm the only one. But it's practice, just like anything else. I talk about this with some studio peeps. When you think about it, we've spent, and this, for anyone out there who has, I'm sure there are people out there who feel good all the time and have excellent, just life is awesome. And I'm so happy for them. That's amazing. But for me, I feel like there was a lifetime of me getting to this point where I kind of became really good at not taking good care of myself, right? It's taken me a lifetime of practice getting to a point where, of not so healthy things, not so healthy things became really easy for me. So that might be just minimizing how I feel, putting other people's needs before my own, compromising my wellness for the sake of others' approval, right? All those things. I can't be the only one here, right? Who's feeling that. And sometimes I can be really hard on myself that I'm not doing better, because I know better, right? In my brain, I know I should be taking care of myself. I shouldn't have said yes to that. I should say no to this. Or maybe I should talk to that person and let them know. All those things, right? But then I have to remember that it's taken a long time of practicing not so good things up to this point. That's, it takes a lot of practicing to get to the place where the good stuff will be just as easy as the negative stuff. Does that make sense? So practicing that self-care and being kind to myself along the way, practicing liking myself, practicing exploring what do I actually like about myself, taking time to invest in that process so that it feels natural. And one day, and it's already happening, so it doesn't take forever. One day, I just noticed that certain things happen without having to think about it. That the work happens. The work I've put in is working. And I surprise myself. But it still takes practice. Still takes practice. And depending on what's going on, some things might be harder. And that's when I remind myself that it's okay to be wherever I'm at. It's okay to feel whatever I need to feel. I've got to honor those things, right? Even the stuff that doesn't feel so good. It's okay. And if I just give space to let that breathe a little bit, and I try to, with all the loving kindness I can muster, remind myself that, what is that? I don't know, that phrase. It sounds so twee, but it's true, that this too shall pass. Just remind myself that things shift, things move, right? Things evolve. And I'm old enough now, because I am old, that I'm beginning to see the evidence of my hard work in the positive way pay off, So it's easier for me now to trust that things will shift, that things will move, that this feeling I have right now will transform. It'll be easier, it'll shift, there'll be something better feeling on the other side of this. Even if it's just a tiny, tiny bit better feeling, or not as bad as the thing I was feeling before. Hello, phone. Haha, folks, I forgot to turn off my phone ringer. Oh my goodness, what do I do here? Do I do that? What happens if I do that? Oh my goodness. That phone is almost like a... All right, there we go. I'll come back to you, I promise. A good reminder. That wakes you up. That wakes you up. Sound wakes you up. Listen to some music. That's lots of different things. Anyways. Oh, Emmett has to run. Emmett, have a good day too. And enjoy that knitting and crocheting. But yes, all of that. It gets easier the more you practice being kind to yourself. Just like anything gets easier the more you practice it. I guess that's all I'm saying, folks. Why am I saying that? I don't even know. Where did that come from? Okay. So it is, oh, it's 3:31. Well, 3:31. Looks like I'm going to go over just a little bit today because I want to get a few more of these pieces down. I feel good about this piece, this collage piece. Don't know exactly what it's saying to me, but I'm liking it. Whoops. I'm liking it lots. Yeah, I'm glad I did collage today. So what do we have there? Don't know the title of this piece. Let's see, let's get close and see what it looks like. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I might take a break with it. Might actually look at it in a mirror, a la Teresa, and spend a little time with it to figure out what it is that I like about it. Maybe it needs a little bit more color here, there, and everywhere. I don't know. I'm enjoying that. And maybe I'll journal about it too. Take some time to ask it what it wants, what it means, what it wants me to know. If folks out there, if you haven't ever done that with your art, I totally recommend it. Give it a go. When you create something, take a little break, step away, and then come back to it, or right away, depending on what you feel, and just grab your journal and ask it. Just ask, like, interview your art. Have a chat with your art and see what it wants you to know. See what it can teach you. The key with that is actually just trusting the response that you get. It's you. It's a part of you. But sometimes we don't take time to talk with our art, to open up that kind of dialogue with it. It can be a really beautiful thing to try. So, if you haven't done that, I totally recommend it. Talk to your art. What have I talked about today? I've encouraged people to talk to themselves, talk to their art, talk to one another, talk to your journal. I think the theme is keep communicating, even when it's tricky. And ask for what you need, even if the response you get won't be the one that you thought you needed in that moment. You never know, right? Just to be able to ask people to think about you or to send some positive vibes is something. And we all need that from time to time. And you know what? It counts. Those kind of things count. These are weird, strange times, and we can't be there for one another in the way that we want to. And we won't always, even in the best of times, we might not be able to be there for one another in the way that is needed. So doing whatever we can to remind ourselves that we matter, that what we feel matters, that there's always somebody thinking about you. And if you're worried, if you don't know if somebody's thinking about you, send out something, Put a message on the Facebook, reach out to your friends. Simple, something simple, just to let them know that you need a little bit of positive thought in your day. And, oh wow. Yes, communication is not always easy, Shelley. I think it's one of the hardest things No one ever teaches us how to do that. We learn how, in the best, ideally, we learn how to speak, we learn how to read, we learn all the things, all the ingredients in communication, but no one ever really takes time to let us know why communication is important, or we don't practice it. We don't practice all those things. And oh goodness, that we could talk about that forever, right? We don't have opportunities to practice the kind of communication that's really important, right? And I could start there, just recognizing what you need. What do you need? What do we need? And how can I ask for what I need? How can I ask myself for what I need? And then the next step, of course, is receiving that, allowing. So that's a whole other conversation, learning how to accept those beautiful little pieces when they're available, right? Yeah. But it does get easier, and the more you practice, the easier it gets. That I can say. That I can say for sure. I don't know. And you're right, Shelley, there are different types of communication too, right? There's verbal communication, there's visual, there's nonverbal, there's, well, the gestures, I was giving those anti-maskers. There are so many different ways of communicating. Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful thing to reflect upon. Maybe I'm going to journal about that when I have some time later tonight. Just, yeah, what is communication? That's a good question, huh? What is communication? But the more confident, the more easy, just being comfortable with how you communicate and understanding why we communicate in the ways that we do allows us to change things that maybe aren't working so effectively as we move forward, right? It's not all set in stone. We learn, we grow, we do new things, we expand, we human a little bit differently, a little bit more effectively perhaps, right? We're works in progress, folks. Really cool, irreplaceable works in progress. Anyways, oh, thank you so much for spending time with me again today, folks. Everyone, wherever you are in the world, I'm thinking about you, sending out some positive vibes to help if you need it. If you don't need them, feel free to pay it forward and share it with someone else. And yeah, stay safe, take care of yourselves, keep creating. I'll post this, a little show and tell after, and include the link in the comments to that Art Hive show and tell video that they shared. And yeah, please feel free to share photos or links to things you're working on, or even links or ideas about what you hope to work on in the future, ideas, inspiration, and we'll keep on connecting, we'll keep on creating, we'll keep on making space for one another in all the tiny ways. Hey, Jenny! Oh, it's so great to welcome, Jenny. And thank you for spending time with us today. And yeah, we are all pieces of art in the making. We are all works in progress. Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness. And that will perhaps be the way it is for all of our lives forever. I don't want to be finished. I don't think I want to be finished. I think that would be boring. I'm looking forward to learning and growing. Yeah, definitely. I never want to stop learning. But anyways, take care. Participate in the show and tell if you like. Thank you so much for all the people who participated in the chat and who are listening. Thank you to everyone who just watched or listened. And thank you to everyone who watches or listens once the video has been archived after this is done. You're welcome to, and you're an important part of our community as well. Thank you for sharing time with us. And well, I guess, one reminder for everyone, I almost forgot. Next week, we will be taking a break. I will be taking a break from all live streaming next week. Oh, I know. I don't want to, but I need to focus on packing up the studio. If I can. Hey, welcome back, Laura. And yes, back in time to say goodbye. Yes. Much love to everybody. But just a reminder, yes, next week, no live streams throughout the week, taking a break so I can focus on packing up the studio and getting it safely into storage in an organized, sensible way. But we'll be back the following week with more live stream, more pop-up art studios. And if I magically get everything packed up at the studio next week, I'll be back to do another live stream, I promise, because I love spending this time with you folks. But in the meantime, take care. And thinking of you all, just like Shelley's thinking of us all here. And just remember that in those moments. Somebody's thinking about you. Somebody out there is thinking about you. And sending some positive vibes your way when they do. All right? So take care, stay creative until we can connect and create with one another again in person. I really do look forward to creating and connecting with you right here online. Mwah. Oh, Carlos! Just in time to say hello. Oh, so good to hear from you, Carlos. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. And goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Bye, everyone. Take care. You're awesome.